Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is for you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. My name is Zach Shomler, and this is the Desperately Dating Podcast. Joining me is my wonderful and wise stepmom, Karyn. Hello, Karyn. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Today, I think, so in the last episode, we talked about, we really got very, very close to this. We touched on it, how when you go through trauma, everything's heightened. And it kind of can cause a lot of, I think the way you said it was, the stressful times can really show the cracks in a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
And I am certain, because my friends are breaking up all the time, that's
Right now?
happening. Oh, yeah. I've had like
yeah.
four friends of mine end their relationships because I think the stress and some of them live together, some of them don't. But it's like everyone ran into a fork in the road. I think I speak for you too when I say my relationship has grown deeper and we've kind of pressed together and grown closer. But I know some people have just grown farther apart or have been really like, I am so sick of seeing Ethan's face. I'm gonna kill Ethan.
Yeah.
I don't know. How would you? Do you have anything to say first before I want to hear your voice because you are the one who said whatever you said in the last podcast. I was like, that really hit a chord.
I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about there, but yeah, I mean, just to go back to this idea that extreme stress, and we're definitely, I think this qualifies, we're in a period of extreme stress, can show cracks in a relationship. But I would want to add to that, though, that this is, I would say, bad stress, but good stress can show cracks in a relationship too. So I think any kind of stress can be really telling.
What's a good stress?
Well, an example from my own life would be when I was married and we had kids, a very happy thing. We both wanted children and, had been waiting a long time for that. And, but then when they came along, you're tested because you're sleep deprived and now you're caring for these other little people. And, there's some financial things that go along with that, all that kind of stress, which was all for a really good thing. I think caused us to see where we didn't mesh very well rather than make us feel like bring us together. That's why I always laugh when people, have this idea about, if we have a kid, it'll bring us together. Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But if you've got problems, and sometimes like for us, I mean, I think they were kind of deeply hidden, but then you throw some stress into the mix and they're going to come right out and it's going to be hard to ignore, I think.
I think people, you and I have talked about fit before on the podcast. Are you a good fit with your partner?
Right.
And people who are a good fit right now are doing pretty well.
Yeah.
And people that have been bad fits or just okay fits. I think there are some people out there who have been an okay fit and they were getting by because they didn't need to. They weren't quarantined together. There was
Right.
there wasn't this crazy stressful thing, and there wasn't this concern about the future and yada yada. And the ones that I think the okay fit that really don't hate each other but are just like, this isn't working. That's the one I think it's maybe even might be having the hardest time right now. Because the people who had really were opposites and not a good fit, I think they kind of knew even going into this, like, there's some questions or concerns. It's the people that maybe didn't realize they had problems that are just that were always getting by and never needed to face their problems that are really, I think, going, fuck, this sucks. This is hard.
Yeah, I think what you're getting to is how this level of, stressful event, I mean, these are really uncharted waters for all of us, right?
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone that has lived through something like this. But what it can lead to is a reexamination of what your priorities are too. So if you were in that relationship, say, where you're kind of getting by and it was good enough and, maybe you had some inertia and just didn't really feel like, going back into the dating pool and that sort of thing. I think when you kind of have maybe more a sense of your own mortality, or I don't know, maybe that's getting a little too deep, but
or even maybe like if you're working all the time and you never nothing slowed down enough for you ever to deal with it, and now people might have more free time, literally, and they're like, thinking about it more and facing it.
Well, I think that's a separate issue that's also true, but I do think that there's also this thing that can happen in times of stress, because I feel like I've had this kind of thing happen to me before, where something comes along that just totally turns your world upside down, and then it's almost like there's an opportunity for you to figure it out, like what is really the most important thing to me. And, that's happened to me before, where I decided that the relationship I was in wasn't good enough,
I think yours was death too. For me, the reason I'm a YouTuber, the reason why I make money in YouTube, the reason why I have the career path I have was because Zane died 4 years ago, and I was like, it shook me awake, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was like, man, I'm on a path with a girl I don't really like that much, and I'm in finance, and like, what the fuck am I doing? And I was like, no, this isn't the life I want. And that's what you mean, right? Is that people are looking around going, you know what? If I were to die, did I really live my life to the fullest? Did I really get what I wanted out of this world? I don't think so.
That is exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe kind of good for those people, actually. Like, as awful
I think
as it
it's
is,
healthy. It's healthy.
It is healthy to go,
Yep.
You know what? I'm settling. This isn't really where I want to be. This isn't really what I want. And fear. People are really motivated by fear right now, I think.
Yeah, fear is a big motivating factor. And I think a little bit of it is self-preservation. Everything is so uncertain.
That's the long-term plans are gone.
Yep.
And I think that's part of that whole mortality thing is like, when you wake up every day, you're like, do I like what I'm doing? I don't know if I'm going to like what I'm doing 5 years from now, because who fucking knows?
Yeah.
I know people who literally their entire career field might be wiped out by this. Like, when going into Corona, it was a thing. And now leaving it might literally not be a job anymore. They're like, things might have changed so much that like commercial real estate people are horrified right now. Right. Because they've made a living selling office spaces to businesses, and the businesses are now realizing, everyone can work from home. We don't need a fucking office. Why would we spend more money than we need for like? And so people I know that work in the commercial real estate field are like horrified. They're like, we might cut, half of our staff in our company because we're not needed anymore. That's scary to them.
Or all the people that work in retail or restaurants and
Do you think people are going to go from like everyone's getting stuff delivered to them now, and people always say like when you go first class on a plane you never go back. Maybe I wonder if that's the same with retail where people are like, I really like getting that shirt sent to me. I don't want to fucking go try it. I ain't going to Target again. Like, maybe that's an extreme example, right? But I'm sure there's some of that going on too where but I guess back to the main point though, like we have no idea what's going to happen after all this goes on, and it's I think really motivating people's actions even in their relationships going, this isn't what I want. This isn't where I want to be.
Yeah. I think I could make that fork of the road. You said it as a fork in the road become a little bit more obvious, Do I stay or do I go?
But here's an interesting question too. Like our perspective, you and I both live with, I live with my girlfriend. You live with your husband, my dad. What if you're not living together right now? How do you date? Like, because you suddenly became a long distance relationship, I would think for the most part, unless maybe you're in a place where you can stay at each other's houses, but then maybe you kind of pseudo moved in together. Like everything's like a fucking mess, I would think, if you don't already live together.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the same as how it would be in a long distance relationship most of the time.
But it's like, I imagine like people saying like, well, we both don't have work and we live 20 minutes apart. What if I just stay the night and I do it again and again and then you have like,
and then all of a sudden you're living together?
Basically, like I'm sure that's happened to some people. And then maybe the opposite has happened where they haven't seen each other in like 3 weeks or a month because they're both avoiding going out. So I think there's both extremes are happening.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned, I just read this article that was pretty interesting about this couple in New York where she works in New York City or, and before all this happened, she worked in New York City during the week, Monday through Friday. And then he lived like, I don't know, in Maryland or something. And then every weekend she would go home and they would be together, but then they would always have like that Monday through Friday where they were living separately. Well, when all this was coming down, all this pandemic stuff, she moved to Maryland. And so it's just kind of interesting to read somebody's take on what that actually feels like. And it sounds like it was very positive.
Oh, good.
But I know, right? You're kind of wondering, like, where is this going to go?
I was scared that. that story.
Me too. But, the article was written in a really good way, just saying that, the author acknowledged her own fears about that. Like, what's this going to be like? I'm used to having my own space. And so for them anyway, it worked out okay. But
well, and also the things that you might typically do to handle your personal stress might not be like one of the things I love doing. I love go-kart racing. I can't fucking go-kart racing right now. You can't even rent a helmet. Like,
right.
None of that stuff. Or, I can't go hiking. All the hiking trails in Portland are shut down.
Right.
You can't go to the beach. Like all the stuff that, you even made the point. Like I think my focus was a lot of the vices you have. Your escapes might not be available. Some people might have supreme access. If their escape is alcohol,
right,
they're a fucking raging alcoholic right now because all they can do is sit at home and drink.
Yep. And what's that going to do to the relationship?
It can't be good.
Yeah.
But my point is, all normalcy is gone. All the habits you used to have aren't there, and so I think everyone. I just think the fork in the road really speaks to me. Like everybody had a kind of we were forced into a choice where we're like, does this work or does it not? Or do you want to move in or not? Do you want to like? Where do you? Everyone had a choice instantly in their face that they had to deal with where the relationship was going to go because it forced you to move somewhere. Relationships couldn't stay the same the way they were for most people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And even just typical relationships where you're used to going out to work. Most people go out to work and, go and do grocery shopping or whatever and get some time away from your spouse. And now all of a sudden you're 24/7. On lockdown together. That can be, even in the best relationships, that can be a little tricky. I know your dad and I, we get along really well. It's pretty darn easy, but even for us, we've had to kind of figure out some ways to give each other space.
I think it's interesting, and this sounds really stupid, but like I don't know if you've experienced this. I haven't gotten sick of my girlfriend at all. I think part of it is because we're so good at knowing when to, like, for example, I work from home. So yesterday I was in the office the entire day. I didn't see her from the time we woke up until I think literally 10 o'clock. I came downstairs and she's like, "You want to get food?" And we got Popeyes actually. Nice. But we are both good at coexisting where we don't need to constantly see each other. So but also I'm never, when I do see her, it's really nice. Like I'm always happy to have her around. We go on walks. That's another huge thing is, we still go on dates, but the dates might be Mario Kart or it might be a bike ride rather than going to the bar, going to get dinner, or it's making dinner together. Like we still go on dates, we still schedule time together, but it's a different thing than it used to be.
And what would that be like if you were one of those couples in the situation where you're not together? I don't know. Like FaceTime, you're not in the same house.
FaceTime and chill. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
That'd be hard.
FaceTime and chill.
That's just a phone call. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Phone calls, drive-bys, maybe.
But that's why maybe it heightened everything. Like for people that were maybe never would have considered staying over, they're like, well, either I come over and hang out with you, or I don't see you. You know what I mean? Like it kind of had to pick, right?
So that could potentially further things along a little faster than maybe would have been ideal.
It sped things up.
Or natural.
Yeah. Or yeah.
Yeah. So you can see how that could maybe work well or not.
Yeah. What have you guys done for dates? Like, what you guys I know do something. You go for walks, but like.
Well, I mean, we do all kinds of stuff. Let's see. We go for walks every day.
Yeah.
At least once. And I think that's good because in, times of big stress to just move your body and get outside, I think is healthy.
Yeah.
And we like doing that together because of the way I think our brains work. That's when we do some of our best thinking and problem solving. And it's really time that I treasure.
I guess maybe I asked because have you had to change your habits? Like what has had to change because of all this?
With your dad and I in our relationship? Well, I think just, like I'd mentioned before, naturally before we were in lockdown, we would be going our own separate ways and giving each other some time and space alone, which your dad and I are both introverts. And so we know that we need that to recharge, just having some time, some solitude at home by yourself. Is really helpful. So we've kind of had to artificially make that happen. a little bit.
Oh, because there's not days where
Because
he's
you don't
gone
have
and-
we're not normally going to our jobs. Like my office is closed, and he's not seeing. He does see a couple of clients, but you don't have like those things like just running to the grocery store or going to the bank or whatever things that give them the other person some space.
Or you can't bank on, hey, Tuesday morning he's gone.
Right. So we've had to kind of adjust there. But then, a lot of the stuff that we did before, because we are kind of homebodies, is serving us very well right now. One of our usual things is we turn on some music, around 5, and he makes cocktails and I start cooking, and we just kind of catch up from our day, so we're still doing that. Yeah. And then, one kind of fun thing that we did with our kids last week, my kids, was we had a dress up night. We had a theme night. We decided, okay, all right, I know it sounds silly, but they loved it.
The kids did.
The kids did. Well, we did too. It was fun, and I think we're going to keep doing this, but we decided we'd have a theme night. And so we decided it was going to be Hawaiian. And so everybody had to dress in aloha wear. We got all dressed up because really there's no reason to get dressed up right now since nobody's going anywhere. But we made a point of doing it. And then we cooked a special dinner. We played, Hawaiian themed music, and we had Mai Tais. And it was just fun, just doing something silly and fun that you could still bring a little joy to, a tense situation.
And do you think that, I don't think it would have happened otherwise if it hadn't been, because here's my skepticality of all, skepticality, is that a word?
It is now.
Is the kids, right? You have kids in high school. And when I was in high school, I would not have been down for that unless maybe I was bored out of my fucking mind during a pandemic. I'm like, let's fucking dress up like we're going to Hawaii. Screw it. Got nothing else to do. Like,
it's profoundly uncool to do stuff like that with your parents. Oh, shit. That means I'm getting them in trouble with their friends. Oh, wait, they're not going to be listening to this. Anyway.
Oh, fuck no.
Yeah. But anyway, I kind of cut out the part where I had to sort of cajole them into doing this. But then, they kind of came around to the idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. That's all. You should. That's cool. Maybe Liz and I'll have a dress-up night.
There you go.
I have no idea what we would do. I want to make fun of it, but I'm not even quick enough witted to figure out what we would possibly do.
Well, and that's another thing you could consider, actually, is, you could still pretend that you're going out on a date. She could get ready and then you could get ready separately, and then you could pick her up. And, I don't know.
You know what's funny, though, is we're so, like, what I love about Liz and what's so funny about me is, like, we both don't give a fuck, like, at all. So, like, we'll go to, like, a nice dinner, dressed like shit. Like, because we're, like, we work from home. Like, we're, like, comfortable. Like, why? Like, we always, and in a good way, like, in a healthy way, like, we're comfortable with each other. So, like, I think it's, I hope it doesn't sound bad. Like,
well, it could be a way to mix it up, though.
Yeah, true. To like,
break the monotony.
Yeah. Also, I shouldn't say that because maybe I don't give a shit. She always dresses up like.
I was gonna say she always looks really nice.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, you're right. I'm just the schlep who's like.
You're the lucky schlep.
True. I'm the one who she's like, you should probably. Well, actually, often I'm like, what do you think? And she'll be like, do your hair this way. Like put on. She'll put like moisturizer, whatever I need for like the day. Like,
grooming. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. Karyn, do you have anything else you want to say about this? I just feel for the people who maybe hit a fork in the road they weren't prepared for.
Yeah.
And are just struggling with that.
Yeah, and it's not like there's much you can do about it right now. If you, sadly, if you realize that it's over, it would be difficult to make a big change right now.
I think it's a blessing, though, too. I guess, not like moving out for sure would be crazy, but do you think some people might be... Everything got accelerated, I guess, right? Some relationships got destroyed because they were like getting by and maybe had to deal with it. But I think some people that maybe if they don't live together and whatever, I think some people that were beginning to date, it just accelerated things. Do I want this or not?
Yeah.
I think that could be a blessing in disguise for some people.
Yeah, I think so. I think it could definitely go either way. Yeah. But then, you have the positive side where, I feel a lot closer to your dad.
I do too.
Living through something
bonding.
something really difficult. But it's not Stockholm syndrome, is it?
I don't know what I was thinking. I have no idea.
Just teasing you. I'm just totally teasing
Leave
you.
it in, Liz. Yeah. Leave it in. For those of you who don't know, I keep saying this. My girlfriend Liz edits the podcast. And so I yell at her now. It's really fun. You listen to the Flawed Humans podcast because I'll be like, Liz, leave it in. Or I'll be like, Liz is going to put up a picture right now. I totally abuse the power because it's so fun.
That's so funny.
It's terrible, but it's great. Yeah. It's like, I'm sure do you know the name PewDiePie? Do you have any idea who that is? Mm-hmm. So PewDiePie always makes fun of his editors as well. But I don't think his editors see him ever. Like, Devin doesn't live with this editor. Right? Yeah. I do.
He's not in love with his editor.
I can torture mine, and she can torture me back, actually. So
yeah. So you better be good.
Yeah. Guys, my name is Zach Shomler. That's all we have for today's podcast. But thank you so much for listening. My name is Zach Shomler. That has been my wonderful and wise stepmom, Karyn. Thank you so much. Hope you're staying safe, and have a great day.